Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Welcome to my channel. My name is Tina. So today I'm gonna be making some vegan pies, and those are little pockets filled with veggie ground, and of course we're gonna season them. So let's look at the ingredients. Okay, so for the dough, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 1 cup of whole wheat flour. You can just make the whole thing, all 3 cups with all-purpose. It doesn't matter. I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I have a tablespoon of sugar and a tablespoon of instant dry yeast. I have a 1/4 cup of canola oil. This is optional. I have 2 tablespoons of soy milk powder. This just makes the dough soft, but you don't have to use it if you don't want. And I have salt, and you're gonna need 1 cup of warm water. For the filling, I have this original veggie ground, and it doesn't have to be this brand, but this is what I have. You're gonna need onions, and for spices, you're gonna need salt, you're gonna need black pepper, paprika, some cinnamon and allspice. And I'm gonna be putting in some pepper paste, but again, this is optional. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mix my flour in this bowl. And as I mentioned, you can do the whole thing with all-purpose flour. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm gonna add my milk powder. And about a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna give this a mix. Okay, so in my stand mixer, I'm gonna put my sugar and yeast right in there. I'm gonna take 1/4 cup of my warm water, and make sure it's just lukewarm, it's not piping hot, because it will kill the yeast. And I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. Okay, so our yeast has been sitting for just 2-3 minutes. I'm gonna add my 1/4 cup of oil. And if you notice, I have my paddle attachment. I like using that at the beginning, and then I switch it to my dough hook attachment. I'm just gonna mix this for 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna add the remaining of my water, which I had 1 cup in total, so I took about 1/4 cup out. And I'm gonna mix that again. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the machine on. While it's mixing, I'm gonna add my flour mixture slowly. Okay, so now that my dough is mixed, I'm gonna change to the dough hook attachment, and I'm gonna continue kneading for about 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. I'm gonna put it on medium just so that I can do the final kneading. Okay, and my dough is done. This is actually a gorgeous dough. I'm gonna push this away. I have oil in my bowl here. I'm gonna take my dough, and look how gorgeous this dough is. Beautiful dough. So I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna coat all the sides. I'm gonna take the saran wrap and just cover it. And then I'm gonna put a towel and leave this in a warm place for about an hour, hour and a half until it's doubled in size. So in the meantime, I'm gonna take you to my stove and we're gonna make the filling. Okay, so we are going to start with the filling. I'm gonna add a little bit of avocado oil in my pan. I'm gonna put in my 2 onions. And just saute that for a few. Okay, so our onions are translucent, as you can see. Before I add my veggie meat, I chopped up 1 jalapeno because my daughter likes spicy, so I'm gonna add that in there. This is totally optional. I mean, at this point you can add green peppers, you can add anything that you like, but I'm just keeping this simple. So I added my green pepper or jalapeno. I'm just gonna give it a mix. And then I'm gonna add my veggie ground. I have 2 of them here, and I'm just gonna break them. So basically, I'm just heating it up. It's already pre-cooked. Okay, so I'm gonna add my spices. I'm gonna add my black pepper, about a teaspoon, paprika, about 2 teaspoons. I have cinnamon, about a teaspoon. I'm gonna lower that. And I have allspice. I'm gonna put about a teaspoon. I'm also gonna add a tablespoon of my red pepper paste. Just gives a nice flavor and color. I'm gonna mix this up. And this is ready. I just have to let it cool down completely before I fill the pies. Okay, so my dough has been sitting for an hour and a half, and as you can see, it's beautiful. It doubled in size. So I'm gonna put some flour on my board. And we're gonna take this out. So I'm gonna divide this. And I'm just gonna cut it into small, kind of like a golf size pieces. I'm gonna put some flour. So all I'm gonna do is fold them in like that, make them into a ball. I have my tray, I have wax paper here. I'm just gonna dust it with flour because these have to rest again for about 15-20 minutes because every time you touch a dough it has to rest. So I'm just gonna eyeball and just fold them onto each other. And okay, so I rolled them all. Sorry, I moved you. And I'm just gonna sprinkle them with a little bit of flour so they don't stick on the saran wrap. Just a little, not much. And I have some here. I'm gonna take a saran wrap. And as I mentioned, these will have to rest for about 20 minutes so that it's easy to work with them. Again, I'm gonna cover it with the towel and then we'll be back in 20 minutes. Okay, so my dough has been resting for 20 minutes. It rised a little bit, so it's good. I have my baking sheet ready. I lined it with parchment paper. I have my ground next to me. My oven is on at 400 degrees. Depends on your oven, so you'll know your oven best. We are going to start. I'm gonna put just a little bit of flour. I don't want too much flour because I don't want to dry up my dough here. And I'm just gonna roll this to a round shape. Okay, so something like that. I'm gonna take a tablespoon of my ground and just put it right there. I'm gonna bring the top to meet the bottom like a moon. And I have my fork, so I'm just gonna press the dough together so it seals it. If you find that your dough is not sealing, just take a little bit of water, dip your finger and just run across it. But if you don't put too much flour, there is, as you can see, there is no problem, it seals it. So we're gonna make one more and then I'm gonna go and make them and then we'll just pop them in the oven. So I'm gonna go and finish the rest and then I'll come back and show you before I pop them in the oven. Okay, so I got one tray done. So I'm gonna pop it in the oven. It's gonna take about 15-20 minutes and then I'll come back and show you what they look like. These just came out of the oven. They're piping hot, but I wanna show you the bottom. Look how nice and golden brown that is. So it looks delicious, smells delicious. I'm gonna just transfer them on a cooling rack. Okay, so we are all done. And this recipe made about 35 and they're good sized pies. You can have this as a snack. You can have it as a main dish with a little bit of salad. It is delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, have an awesome day, you guys. Bye.